Today on the Rockfeed podcast, we're joined by a very special guest, Dayseeker frontman Rory Rodriguez, one of the fastest growing bands. Over the last few years, some amazing music. But the new record is coming out near the end of October, October 24th. Creature in the Black Night coming out. We've got so much great music on the way from this band. I really appreciate you being on the podcast.
Dude, thanks, man. You were very, very nice when we met a few months ago, so it felt like a good idea to sit down.
Yeah. No, I'm genuinely, as I've told you, I'm genuinely a big fan of what you're doing. And so I know so many in the audience are as well. You guys are just putting together some of the most anthemic and catchy music that's been out over the last few years. And as we're seeing continuing with this new record. And so I like to ask people kind of going through their career, going through their inspirations. And so kind of wanted to ask you, like, growing up for you, what were some of the bands that kind of inspired you to pick up an instrument, to start singing?
Yeah, Linkin Park was up there for sure. I listened to a lot of like emo, pop punk kind of vibes. Like I was a big Yellow Card fan when I was younger. I really liked Dashboard Confessional. A big like vocal hero of mine is Dallas Green from like City and Color or Alexis on Fire. Dustin Kensrue from Thrice, Aaron Gillespie from Under Oath. I started listening to these guys and I was like, man, they can just like you hear like good pop singers and they're fantastic, but these like rock singers with just these big ranges, and it just felt like they were just belting with everything they had. And I felt like I grabbed onto that a lot when I was a teenager. So I feel like I owe a lot to like, yeah, people like Chester Bennington and those guys, because I was just like, how do you do that? And it was a lot of trial and error to get my own thing here, but definitely big inspirations for sure.
And how old were you when like Hybrid Theory came out?
Dude, probably like 12 or 13.
Me too.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
were you like 35?
36.
Got
Yeah.
Age, yeah.
Yeah. 89, 80s, baby.
So you're like middle school with Hybrid Theory, bro.
Yeah.
That was like the dream.
No, I remember I would go like, they had a track at my high school and I would go run, and I think it was when Meteora came out. But yeah, I had a little like CD-ROM thing and I'd put headphones in and I would just put like Meteora in and I would just listen to that and I'd run around, and like it was an interesting time back before like iPods were super prominent.
That's so interesting because for me, growing up, I remember like on vacation to visit a family member when I was growing up, we went to Arizona and like the desert. I'm obviously here in Virginia, but I went there and I was there when Meteora came out, and I've always been like a runner. I don't run as much as I should now, but like I'd always go jogging, and I went jogging to that album as like the sun was setting, and it's like an image that I don't forget. And, so it's interesting to see the impact that Linkin Park had. And do you remember the point that like you wanted to start a band, and do you remember kind of how you felt at the time and maybe what the motivation was behind that?
I think when I was younger, because I didn't start singing, I picked up guitar first, and I actually didn't know if I was gonna sing. And it's funny because I feel like I had a buddy who played guitar, and he showed me a few kind of chords to help me out when I was starting, and he was a singer too. And I remember he asked me to sing for him, and I had never really done that before, and he didn't react at all afterwards, which to me was like, it's probably pretty bad. And so it's funny, I feel like I still carry that kind of like I'm very comfortable performing and singing in shows, because it's like that's the reason we're here and people have come to see it. It makes sense. But if I'm at like a family party and somebody's like, sing something, it's like my nightmare. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I'm not in the right setting, but it's no, it's funny though, because I feel like I tried at a young age, and I just kind of did like the singer songwriter thing for a really long time, and I was like, oh, that'll be my thing. I'll be like a secondhand serenade or a dashboard. I
could see that.
Me and an acoustic, and I did that for like 3 or 4 years, and then I think Under Oath was like one of the first. Like Linkin Park screamed, but it was definitely very like, I don't want to say divorced dad rock vibe, but it was like, I'm trying to figure out how to say it. I heard They're Only Chasing Safety from Under Oath, and I was like, this is different. Like, this is a little more of that, like, post-hardcore, like, screamo kind of thing back then. And I think Under Oath was definitely a band I listened to where I was like, oh, man, that'd be, like, kind of fun to, like, not be, like, acoustic the whole time. Like maybe I have a band I get to play with, and it's funny, for a long time I kind of wanted to do something where it was like, okay, we'll find somebody who like screams and they'll be the front man and I'll just play guitar and sing. And then I joined my first horrible local band when I was 18, and they had two guitar players already, and this was also in an era where like you didn't do two singers, so they were like, you're a good singer, we should have you in the band, but you have to learn how to scream if you join the band. And I was doing this horrible like high pitched like thing, and then after a few years I ended up figuring out kind of like how I do what I do now. But yeah, I don't know, it all just kind of went from there, and a bunch of failed local bands eventually led to Dayseeker. And I don't know, it was definitely, I did it when I was a teenager because yeah, just I'd be sad about my upbringing or a breakup, and I felt like having songwriting to like confide my personal thoughts in felt kind of like a superpower, because I felt like I could be like depressed and I could translate it into something like positive, not positive necessarily, but like I'm not just sitting and sulking in pain. I like took something and I made it productive, and now it's a song, and somebody else might hear it, it might help them, they can relate. And that's definitely like, I had a lot of sad hours in my bedroom alone listening to like just like really sad sounding music, always kind of struck a chord with me. But I think it's because like I needed it when I was younger. And so I feel like there's a cool full circle moment with Dayseeker where I feel like that's a big part of why I think people like our band these days, is like because the content is so relatable sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, you're obviously writing about your own experiences, and I wonder if it's with songwriting, when you're a talented songwriter, if loneliness growing up, you mentioned being that kid in the room, if that kind of factors in, you really feel like you have something you to say and you want to get it out in such an interesting way. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, when I was younger, it was just like girls and stuff, and then yeah, and then my dad passed, and it was like, whoa, there's like real shit to write about now. But yeah, I'm grateful for it. Like a lot of our new record is like not rooted in like death or like women, it's just very like just about things I've gone through in the last few years, and as our band gets more successful, and trying to figure out who to trust too. So I think I used to be very like, I was always so of the opinion like everybody I think has like your best interests in mind, and like it's okay to trust everybody. Yeah, and I definitely let a few people too close who had weird intentions, especially like post like our band doing the success we've had like the last couple years. It's like I kind of miss when we were like more DIY in a van and we were like the underdogs, and it felt like if you had friends or people close to you, it felt like they were like, there's a reason, it's because of like your personality or they're rooting for you. And then it's weird to meet people who are like, I don't want to say climbers because that sounds so rude, but just people who, yeah, it just feels like they see your success as an opportunity for them, not like something that they want to be happy for you for. And so it's been interesting to explore on our like writing for our new record and stuff. Yeah.
I definitely think you're hitting on something very strong there. When we've had this conversation many times on the podcast, so many artists have shared stories of like going through that success. And as your band is growing very quickly right now, I'd imagine that you're also experiencing that firsthand, unfortunately. And then I think on the other side of that, you're probably going to know really who's with you.
It does feel like it, yeah. Like it definitely gives clarity as to like what's important in your life. And I feel like a lot of times I'm like I have my daughter and like my band, and like her mom's great, and it's like these are like my core people in my life, and like some of our crew too are like some of our best friends. But yeah, it's just it definitely makes things more simplistic as to like what matters and like who's important. Because yeah, I think I was a little naive to, I don't know, how life was going to go the last couple of years, because it is scary as your band gets a little more successful, and it's like
the song "No Money, More Problems."
I guess so.
So,
yeah,
success,
sure.
not to talk money, but like with success, I would say probably the same thing. And
yeah,
that's amazing. And I really look forward to this new album. And kind of going back to when you're growing up, do you remember the first show you went to?
Yeah, I went to this local band showcase at this kind of historic venue in Anaheim, California that I grew up in. It's called Chain Reaction. It's like
Legendary venue.
yeah, yeah. And I don't know. My buddy who was helping me with the guitar and stuff at the time, we went off a whim one night. I'd never been to a show, and it was like there were seriously probably 20 people in the crowd. It was a local band showcase, but I remember just being like, this is amazing. And we stayed after to like punish the bands and just talk to them. And like, like probably, I mean, I was like 15, so I was just probably very annoying, but,
I mean,
yeah,
haven't we all been there?
yeah, but
You know?
no, it was a very cool experience just to, even in like that small of a capacity, like some of the other, I definitely saw like Taking Back Sunday and like The Used together. I think that's like the first real show I went to where I was just like squished in the crowd like a sardine and just moshing and singing along to every word. And that was, yeah, I mean, it's a cool job to have on the other side for sure. But those were cool shows, definitely. Yeah.
And once you got up on stage, like, was it something difficult? You mentioned kind of at the family. Also, talking about like people asking you to sing, is it tough for you to listen to your own music if other people start playing it when you're around? Is that a challenge?
Yeah, I don't like that. It's if I'm alone and I'm like, because like for our new record, it's like you have to hear the songs like a few hundred times
Sure.
because we get like mixes back, and then I have to be like, oh, like this part's weird or this like it's so it's funny because by the time the album comes out, you're kind of like, I don't want to say sick of it, but you're kind of like,
Sure.
it's not as exciting as when I first got a demo of it leaving the studio, and it was like, damn, like there's something cool here. Yeah, but it's no, I mean, it's a process for sure, in writing and everything, but it is, I know what you're saying. It's weird. Like, I was getting my nails done, like a few weeks ago. Yeah, I go to salons and stuff. It's just easier, but, somehow my band came up and this woman just was like, oh, what's it called? And like, she just started playing it, out of her iPhone while she was doing my nails, and I was like, I don't want to like, please stop. I know, but I'm too timid to be like, can you turn that off? Because so I'm like, I'm just gonna ride it out. But like, yeah, she started at like Pale Moonlight on our top Spotify and just let it ride down the list for like 40 minutes, and I was just like, because I feel like it's hard for me to focus on the conversation because I'm too wrapped up in like, oh, like this part or this or that's it, and this is what happens live, and this is what happened in the studio. It's like, because there's so much history in the song, I'm like, and then it's my voice too, and I'm just like, this is weird and distracting, but it's, yeah, it's fine if I'm alone and I'm like doing a mixing note or something, but I'm like, nah, I don't want to hear it at a party or anything.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah.
And talking about Pale Moonlight, seeing that, I mean, the first time I heard it, I was like, damn. I mean, you can go back and look at my posts. I posted like 10 times about it. And I was just like, damn, this is outrageously good. And
Thanks, dude.
really, I mean, it's crazy to see what you guys are doing from a songwriting perspective, what you're doing from a songwriting perspective. And it's got to feel good to, at this time, you guys are not like rookies. You're not brand new. You've been around for a while, to have that new single being #1 on the Spotify list to show that like, it's not a sophomore slump. It's not I don't know how many albums you're in now, but like it's
Yeah.
the momentum continues to climb and it's so strong. What do you think you attribute the continued success to? Like, what do you think it is that has led the band to continue on this upward trajectory for as long as it has been?
I don't know. I definitely feel like I would attest a lot of it to our producer for sure, Dan Bronstein. He was definitely somebody that, I mean, I've recorded songs and albums with a bunch of different engineers, and like no disrespect, most people I've recorded with, I think, are great guys and they're very talented. But I don't know, something about Dan, he was the first who was kind of like, it's painful, but he's on my ass when I'm recording vocals, but he's very like, he's just like, there needs to be like conviction behind what you're saying. Because sometimes you would catch me kind of like, it's hard to describe, but it's like you can sing a line or a lyric and it's all on melodically, but it might just sound kind of like there's no like life in your delivery. And he's very like, I think he got me really rooted in like, you should like really be trying to convey through like the tone of your voice exactly what the lyric is saying right here.
Sure.
You shouldn't just be like kind of going along and,
Right.
and so I think like, yeah, a lot of our recordings have a lot of like conviction and like the emotions and the vocal deliveries. He definitely is very good at kind of assessing like, because we decided around like our Sleep Talk album a few years ago that we wanted to be like a little more accessible and pop driven, and it wasn't for like any other real reason other than just like we kind of outgrew like atypical metal where it's like screaming all the time. And
Was
I
it like,
found,
and forgive me for not being overly familiar with stuff before like Sleep Talk, but like, was it like metalcore kind of stuff early days?
yeah, I think our first like three records, we were trying to be kind of like architects and like,
Shout out Architects.
yeah, just a lot of different bands where like, it was a lot of like heavily screamed, like it was very 50-50, like half the song I'd be yelling, the other half would be singing, and we'd be trying to write riffs, but like none of us were like super good at guitar enough to write like I felt like overly intricate guitar parts and stuff, and so I felt like it just came off a little more generic, and I think also like our budgeting wasn't great on our first few albums, so like the quality just doesn't
Sure.
sound good. And Sleep Talk was our it was our second record we did with Spine Farm, and that was when we had Dan produce it, and then we had this guy Henrik Oud in Sweden like mix and master it. And I think that was our first like, damn, like this record sounds good, and we kind of took a risk because we felt like our hardcore and metal roots fans would kind of be like boo, like like you're singing all the time. But I think I also kind of realized like I can scream and like I get comfortable with it, but I also just feel like I'm way more like comfortable as a singer. Like I don't there's like the guy from Lorna Shore or somebody where I'm like, yeah, like you're a lunatic as a scream. Like it's amazing what you do. Like I don't have that. I have like one little pitch thing I can do, and I try messing around, I just can't get it. But singing, and then I'm like, cool, I'm like way more. I just felt like the singing was more interesting, and we really leaned into like trying to highlight that, and the screaming is more like you get some of it sometimes, but it's just not what we're interested in. And I think it's because we were listening to more pop music too as we got older, you know?
Well, I bet you're not regretting that decision now.
I'm not, no. Which is funny because there are like old diehards who are like, your first album was better. And I'm like, I played for 10 people a night. It really wasn't like, or I mean, I'm glad you like it, but like we wouldn't, it's like, yeah, like people, I'll see it even on our new stuff we put out with like Shapeshift or Creature. And it's just people who are just like, they're just echoing the same thing. Like, oh, your older, heavier stuff was better. And I was like, if we kept doing that genre, we would have broken up. Like, cause I couldn't tour anymore and come home with like 100, like for a month and come home with $200 in my pocket. Like, and yeah, it's just, and it wasn't done for money, but it definitely was like.
You have to be able to support yourself though.
Yeah, 100%.
And your family.
It was really more rooted though. And just like, we did this record called Dreaming is Sinking, Waking is Rising. That was our one before Sleep Talk. And it was probably our heaviest record and so rooted in metal. And I was just like, I don't know, even like halfway through making the record, I was like, my heart's not like really in this because I don't want to like yell all the time. And I'm not like, yeah, metal. Like, I think we shine so much more as a band with like a song like Without Me or like, I don't know, like there's a lot of melody in the music and it's like if you like pop music, but you want rock, like there's like a middle ground there for you. You know?
Bro, what's so interesting about those songs too is what I think really differentiates you guys as a band is that you can take pretty much any one of your songs and make them. I love the acoustic record you did. I mean, that was amazing. The cover of Evanescence was amazing. My Immortal, insane. Yeah. So, it's just crazy to see what you all have done. And hopefully, with this new album, it's just going to continue developing that. Based on what I've heard so far, I can't imagine how it would not. So
I hope so. Yeah. I'm very proud of the record. It feels like there's like a consistent theme throughout the whole thing too. Like, I think people are probably starting to get like a picture painted off the 3 singles we have out now. But yeah, I'm really excited for people to hear it. I think it's like the best thing we've done for sure.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you, I mean, the not just the music, but the visuals as well. It's clear you guys put so much into your music videos and all of that. But look, it's a show day for you. I always try not to take people's time too much. And so I really appreciate you. Hopefully first of many more appearances here on Rockfeed. It's been an honor to have you here, and I'm really looking forward to the show tonight. The new album, October 24th. coming out. I cannot wait. The new Dayseeker record. We've got it up on the screen for you, and you can pre-save it at the link down in the description. Thanks for being here, bro.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it.
You. Yeah.